Good afternoon, Rob Parker from Peach Business Software. I'm going to take you through the import goods in process this afternoon, and we're just going to go through this flow chart first. So you send your order off in your foreign currency, which is stored in the FOB area in Peach Software. You go into the import goods in screen when you receive the goods, and you import the order, retrieve the order into the import goods in screen. You put in your freight charges and your exchange rate, and that will calculate your landed cost for you item by item. Once you've done that, it updates the inventory according to all the charges, so you've got an accurate FIS value or cost. It updates the creditor for the supplier of the goods. Then it will also update a suspense account. You'll then use the funds in the suspense account to put through a batch supplier invoice, and that will update the creditor for your shipping. So once that's all done, everything should be balanced. So now we'll go into Peach Software and have a look at how that happens. Okay, so now we're in Peach Software. We're just going to go through a couple of setup options to make sure you're all ready to go. So in the setup options, you've got to make sure that you're set up as an importer, and also you've got to have the general ledger interface import goods in ticked. I'm assuming at this point that you're using our Peach general ledger. Once you've done that, you've got to set up a couple of general ledger accounts. So first of all, you've got the import clearing expenses. So this is where your freight costs are going to go. And then you've got your exchange rate variation. So what's going to happen here is if the time that you're importing it, you've put in an exchange rate according to that day, and you've paid for the currency before or after that date, then the exchange rate variation is going to go to this account, and you're going to be able to do a journal later on at the end of your accounting period to determine whether you've lost or made money, and it either goes as a revenue or an expense. So once you've done that, then you've got to go into your GL setup screen, control accounts, and you've got to make sure that you put those accounts into your import clearing account and exchange rate variation fields in your control accounts in your GL setup. Okay, so once you've done that, you're ready to do your transaction. We'll just close those screens. And we can do our import goods in. So I've already set one up here ready to go. So we've put in our supplier. One thing I forgot to mention is you need to go to your suppliers. So in your supplier, this is your supplier for the goods. You need to make sure it's ticked as imported. So that'll make sure it's handled correctly. And then on the other supplier, which is your supplier for your freight charges, you're going to make sure that their GL code goes to the import clearing expenses account, so that way it's going to balance things out. The supplier for the goods goes to your normal purchases account. Okay, so we've done that, and now we're in our import goods in screen. So we put in our importer, we put in our exchange rate, and we put in all the local charges that we get from our freight supplier, invoice number, and then we put in the part numbers or retrieve them from the supplier order, the quantity, and then we simply push calculate. And as you can see here, what it does is it uses the $3, the exchange rate, all the charges, and it calculates your landed cost there. So you just update that, and that'll update your inventory and your cost of the product. So let's assume we've done that for a moment, and then we can go to our batch supplier invoice. So then we could go to our freight forwarder, we put in their invoice, so they'll have all the charges on one invoice, or you may have multiple invoices, in which case you can have multiple suppliers set up, make sure they go to the clearing account, and then you can put the invoices in here. And you'll note also that even though I've got a total of 1,400, I've been able to edit the GST, because often the GST reflects the GST on the products, not the GST on the freight forwarder's invoices. So you can edit the GST component in this batch creditor invoice, and then you update that. And once that's done, your stock system, your creditors, your general ledger should all be in balance. So hopefully that helps, and if you need any assistance on that, please feel free to call Peach Software. We can also send you the documents out. I've got some help sheets here that we can send out for you in case you get stuck. Thanks for watching. Hope that helps.